delays or whatever in the whole of Lagos. So Lagos wouldn't have to bother about coming back to vote tomorrow or next week on the presidential elections.
I wonder if there's any voting going on now. No.
Well,
because it started on
it's
the night.
It's actually very late in the night, but then I know that in some places voting actually took place up till 8 p.m.
So there's
Yes, very close to my place, we still had vote counting going on till about 8 p.m. and it ended peacefully. But also it calls to mind the question, the non-use of, the resultant non-use of card readers because of the problem with the technology. Well, why were the card readers introduced in the first place? Because it was necessary to prevent electoral fraud. And probably it was meant to reduce electoral fraud to the barest minimum. Now that there are exceptions, I mean, does it not create a vulnerability in the system where, you know, some people would exploit the situation to their own advantage? Is it not possible?
Well, everything is possible, but that's why I said the percentages are important, because it's about whether what happens, even if you accept that, and I don't think that is going to be the case, even if we don't give people the benefit of the doubt, and we are assuming every place where accreditation is manual, people are going to try and play tricks. What you have to then consider is, even if they did, what is the percentage of people that will be voting there vis-a-vis the big result? Is the amount enough to have an impact ultimately, yes, on what the results of the elections are?
All right,
and
gentlemen,
really, those are the questions.
I understand that we have on the line from Abuja the Director General of the National Orientation Agency, Chief Mike Omeri. Oh, Chief Omeri, hello.
Hi, how are you?
Fine, thank you. And you?
I'm okay. Hanging in here.
All right, did you vote today?
I'm one of those like you on essential duty, so it was difficult to stay in one place the whole day for accreditation and voting.
I'm so sorry to hear that. But then could you just share your experience with us across the federal capital, where I believe you observed what happened at the various polling stations, and also the reports you got as far as the challenges the voters met today?
Well, as an observer, some of the things I noticed will be noted in my report. But as Director General of the National Orientation Agency, I noticed that there was massive turnout almost all over the FCT and National Secretariat I also went to. And I think it is a clear demonstration of the people's confidence in what government had said, assuring citizens to come out and participate in the process, guaranteeing peace and security, even in the Northeast, especially Maiduguri, Borno State, and Adamawa State, and people came out in their numbers. And I think essentially the mobilization undertaken by the agency and such other groups had helped to achieve that significantly.
Well, we had issues with the card readers. I mean, these were some of the things, some of the major things that were reported. The problem with the card readers, some of them may be failing at whole polling stations. Some, it had to do with just some individuals. But at the end of the day, I mean, does it not create room for, one, doubts to be raised in the minds of Nigerians as to the efficacy of this technology? And then, don't you think it will have an adverse effect on the final results?
Well, INEC will decide that, but of course, yes, there were glitches with the card readers in some places, so they had to adopt the use of instance form. In fact, some of the places I went exhausted the instance form because they just had to resort to it. Apart from that, the case of officials turning up a little bit late, because in one other polling unit, I think in Karu here, accreditation finished at about 6 p.m. And they were still deciding whether to cast a vote or to come back in the morning. And so there are so many cases like this that some were easily resolved by INEC officials, some by security officials, as in one area where the police commissioner had to come in to resolve the shouting incidents between voters and INEC officials. But on the overall, in spite of it, the patience of Nigerians was called to test, and they actually showed that they are patriotic and want exercise to be done with this time around.
Mr. O'Mary, what's your overall impression of the conduct of the elections in your neck of the woods, and also concerning security?
Well, apart from the one or two incidents recorded in Bombay and the area, in Muratai specifically, I think generally security was good. And also, of course, not forgetting the Enugu incidents and one other in Onitsha, which was reported by my officers. Everything went on smoothly. There were one or two cases of snatching of ballot boxes, but I wonder what they were snatching the ballot box for, unless if they also snatched the ballot papers. But these were in just two places that were reported. And overall, it was good. No major incidents to make us begin to think, bad about the process. But then, these are just preliminary. Let's wait for the full reports that will start coming out tomorrow or later tonight. Because, the elections went late into the night. So we cannot afford to be conclusive on most of the things that we are saying. And let's be fair to INEC and give them a chance to do what they have to do.
Well, you actually talked about what happened in the Federal Capital Territory mainly, but then I'm sure you had some of your people spread in various parts of the country. Did you receive any reports of any such challenges, especially the very major ones, maybe like ballot box snatching or violence, anywhere else in Nigeria?
No, there were no reports of violence, to my knowledge. Just one or two incidents of ballot box snatching, but even that was resolved easily. Because after snatching the boxes, they now realized they needed the ballot papers as well.
Interesting.
Otherwise, it was the returns that the exercise went on peacefully.
All right, Mr. Michael Mary, you have talked about the fact that people turned up to take part of these elections. I would like you to talk about, do you think Nigerians have learned more about how to conduct themselves during elections in this particular case compared to what we've had in the past?
Oh, yes. Clearly, in some of the places we went, people are enthusiastic. They came out early, wanting to cast their vote. Something has been learned. Lessons have been learned. I think the voter turnout is unprecedented. I stand to be challenged. It's unprecedented. Everywhere you went, and especially, interestingly, women. Women were almost all over the place, and I wish that they were voting for a female president. And I look forward to that in 2019.
Well, we also look forward to that happening as well. But for now, well, I think most of the focus is on the male candidates. Well, that was Mr. Mike O'Mary, the Director General of the National Orientation Agency. Thank you very much, Mr. O'Mary. We'll be coming back to you at some point during the program.
Thank you.
All right.
Talking about female candidates,
Yes.
Party
I
got
actually
votes.
thought you'd actually have something to add to that.
Yeah, the Coop Party got some votes at my polling, unit. Not many, granted, but I thought they were symbolic in the sense that there were people who were prepared to actually give Mrs. Remishone votes. And I thought, well, maybe she's actually beginning to show Nigerians that there could be a third alternative party. And I thought that was a good thing, that it wasn't 0 votes.
It does seem that way. It's good to, so it means that there is a consciousness that something can come
Yes.
from there.
Yes.
You know, in the future, maybe not now.
Maybe not now, but you know, it's baby steps, isn't it?
Yes, indeed. And it's also neat for us to mention, just generally speaking, Nigerians are asking, you know, the questions they're asking right now will be